okay, like why doesn't, XYZ stock trend? That's one of the reasons, right? So like, like so many people will sit there and right, like they'll try to bounce something like Clove. And you'll look at it and be like, well, why the fuck do the intraday setups like not work or whatever? And it's because of right this overall structure of the daily chart. But like when you're thinking about like, okay, I get in a stock, and there's sometimes I get in a stock and there's like every single dip gets bought. And you're thinking like, oh, wow, how the fuck does every single dip get bought in this stock, but it doesn't in this stock? When you have a stock that's breaking out, right, and it's over some right level of supply, over all levels of supply, then you tend to have like just a lot cleaner plays. And that's what kind of leads to like really, really clean plays. So like, when you think about like, okay, why would like NVAX work? But like, why would BNTX work? Like, why would like XYZ stock not work? That typically ends up being, one of the main reasons. When you think about like putting stocks on your list, you really do want to, if you can find ones with very, very little levels of supply overhead, then you're going to have a lot cleaner play. Cool. Good morning, everybody. What's up? Now, the problem is, right, like the cheapies are always like down low, and that's what everybody gets excited about. But one of the reasons they have so many damn shakeouts is because, right, there's always some level of supply, and they're just going to move on their own a little bit. So let's take a look. Good morning, everybody. We've had a nice 2-day run in the markets. We've been, if you really look at the Qs, right, like we got down into this level. So we've had kind of multiple days of bounce here from 352, 362, so give or take 3-4%. The IWM itself is moved quite a bit, down from 208 to 220. So almost like that's almost a 10 spot, no? Yeah, give or take, So now you're back into like a little bit of a congestion zone, a little bit of a supply zone. That's going to make things, that's going to make things very, very, I think, a little bit more tricky. My gut feeling, and see, it already started to run over. If we had kept up this gap today, we would have shorted the gap like at first tick, we would have shorted the gap on it. Now, things get a little bit more tricky because we're kind of like back into the zone over here. And where do we find support? Who fucking knows? But man, that just recent swoosh changes things slightly, where the possibility of popping back up and doing a red to green or even a fake red to green is in play. Yeah, ideally I really wanted to get this thing up into here, but I think we do need to add some shorts. The easy bounce is over. And this happens with the IWM a lot. Like you get extended and then it'll just rip for a few days, right? But that's range life in a nutshell. Range life in a nutshell is like, okay, when it looks bad, it's good. And when it looks good, it's bad, right? It's opposite day. Where breakout life is, when it looks good, it's good. And then when it's bad, but it's actually good because all the dips get bought too, right? Back down to support. Range life is a little bit different. Your total penis in between us over here, and that makes it just infinitely a little bit trickier to trade. Now, if you notice, like in the past, it's not like these MAs really act as any resistance on the IWM, and the reason is moving averages don't count for shit when you're stuck in range, right? Moving averages work in the context of trends, but they do not work in the context of consolidation because moving averages signify trends on different time frames. If they're crisscrossing around, then they're not going to really do anything. But we are getting back towards, right, a little bit more of supply here. So we'll have to be a little bit mindful of like what goes down today. And I would be prepared to have a handful of shorts. It doesn't mean we need them, but it's a possibility. I think there's a couple that are just, right, a little bit juicy for us here. It would have been nice if this fucking thing didn't, gap down 2%. This RCL is primed for rollover. So like, look, this thing got up to $80, right? It was just at 66. It's $14 bounce, like a 20% bounce. But if you look here beyond these, like the 200 SMA, 20 SMA, right, you have all this kind of supply over here, like a little bit of your old breakdown spot. That's a good spot. You know, Carnival Cruise Line, same thing. This is 32 bucks. Got down to 19, so it's got to retrace. You know, somewhere in this zone is probably going to roll back over. You know, these people, I mean, they deserve to be shorted. Like, you guys have been on Carnival Cruise Lines. It's no good. How many times you been on Carnival Cruise Line? I've been on a couple. It's no good. You know, they advertise like 200 bucks. Just get all the Indian people to show up. And they feed us the bad pizza. Just knowing that we can't say no to a good deal. It's racist. It just is. Just knowing that the Indians are going to fall for it. And you just load up some cheese pizzas. And, you know, that's all you get, right? It's like, oh, man, we got a bunch of Indians here. Let's throw some ice cream around, some cheese pizzas, and they're good to go, right? We know they're not going to spend any money on anything. We're going to give them all the cheese pizzas we can. And that ain't right. You never see any Indian people on Norwegian Cruise Line. You never see them on Royal Caribbean. They're always on this Carnival. So just for that, we hit this thing first and hard. All right. We hit this thing first and hard for my people. For my people. It's a moral obligation. We just got to do it. Now let's take a look at just some of these gappers. I know some of you guys are probably, some of you degenerates are looking at this narrow, but that's this. This is going to be fool's gold today. 2 to 40. Like it can get wild if it gets over this level. But if you really look at it yesterday, like it was skipping, right? Like well, first of all, it just moved on almost no volume. It was skipping. I mean, this is like, see all these halts and stuff. I mean, you could trade that. There's actually good money to be made when it's a stock is skipping like that. And as long as you know how to do it. But like it does bring out the worst in you. This is like a hard pass on my end. SQBG. You know what? We shredded this fucking thing. We shredded this thing a little bit ago. Look at this. Following the sale of 65% DVS footwear. 2 million. Well, great. Hey, we divested this division so I can get a freaking efficiency unit in Tribeca. Come on. 2 million. That's like a rounding error. This is like you can't do it unless it clears. This 200 SMA. I just sent an alert here. You know what? If it busts over, you could probably start looking at it. We had a couple good trades on this, you know, a couple weeks ago, but fuck that. That looks like a lot of stress. NRXP. NRB? Hey, so these guys got a Roni thing going. These guys had some like Roni news out. You can see here. Shares increased 19% after the company unveiled the first commercial formulation of its COVID-19 treatment, Zysami. That just fucking name is like incredible, right? Like, oh yeah. Like what kind of treatment you get? Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson. No, I'm getting a little Zysami. That just sounds elite right there. Like you get a Zysami, you're going places. Like all your friends are just waiting in CVS, like waiting to get chipped with the Johnson and Johnson. And you're just sitting there like, man, Johnson, aren't these the people that put asbestos into baby powder, just slaughtering babies' butts for decades after decades, putting asbestos in the most sacred of powders, which is the baby powder? You want to take that? Or you want to go and get yourself into a little corner mark, you know, maybe some Indian guy or Arabic guy's liquor store. He's got a little stand going, and he says, hello, my friend Habibi. Do you want some Zysami? That fucking, this sounds incredible. Like just for, I'm putting that on the list, man. I'm putting that on the list. That sounds like the drug for the elites right there. A little Zysami. Putting it on the list for the name in particular. DQ. Hey, yo. This is a solar. This is a Chinese solar, which actually bodes well for our little fave that we usually trade, which is JKS. You know, they probably run together. This is a buenos. Let's add this. You got a little range break here. Look, it's already used up $12 worth of liquidity. Like it never does any liquidity. You've got a million shares on this bad boy already. Let's see if that one dips. This one, because it's going to have a spread on it, guys. You don't want to chase this thing up. It's going to be a little bit tricky because like you're probably going to have 50 cents, 20 cents, maybe even like $1 spread. I mean, that's going to be a little bit tricky, but we got to come in hot on this. So the backtrack, if this thing is going to go, we got really nice range break on JKS. Man, this thing is hot. What do you think? It's no Zaisami, I'll tell you that, but it's nice, right? That's probably top of the list. Crocs, man. This should tell you all you need to know about the state of America. State of America. Who's getting run over by this Delta variant? Unvaccinated people who are unvaccinated people usually? People that wear Crocs. People that wear Crocs. Look good. Okay, hey, man, I ain't touching that shit, all right? I ain't touching that shit right now. Let's get ourselves a little Monster Energy. Man, you rub a little Monster Energy around your nasal. Man, you ain't getting none of that Rona stuff, okay? That shit's for the Chinese. That was a Chinese invention. Let me tell you something, all right? I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. Oh, yeah. These guys, this is all we need to know. This is right here, the state of America. Because there's only one type of person that wears Crocs. There is only one type of person that wears Crocs. This is hot. Oh, yeah, it's hot. ARVN, this is a biotech stock. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Hey, Jason, right now we're going over just the stocks that have earnings out today, like some type of PR out. Only 73K in volume on the pre. Yo, but that is a hot, that is a hot breakout. Hold on here. Yeah, see this? So we got one test, two tests, three tests, right? I mean, no matter how you draw it, don't matter. Yo, if we get liquidity on this, this thing is hot. That's hot. Let's add it. What do you think? Oh, yeah. Let's add it. That one's got a caveat on it of, we don't know if there's liquidity. We're going to have to watch it. I'd let the morning fire off. Like once you get probably like if 500,000 shares in volume fire off in like say the first 10 minutes, 10 minutes, it'll have the liquidity we need, to come in, but otherwise leave it alone. MRN turd, SMPX turd. F45 Training Holdings. What the fuck is that mean? F45 Training. That's something an incredible name. F45. This is a fitness company. F45 Trading. F45. Hey guys, I trade at a little place. Maybe you heard about it. F45. That don't have the same ring as like some other places, I don't have the same ring as some other places. I mean, granted, like you don't want to be rolling it. You don't want to be seen if you're like a single man, like you don't want to be seen at Planet Fitness or something, right? Because That's just, you're just going to be single for a long time. If people find out you're rolling around at Planet Fitness, right? Like you're not, there's a reason why you're single. This at 45, I'm not sure I'm digging that name either. Man. Mm-mm. I don't know, but it's an IPO. Man, I don't know. Yeah, there's like, you got all sorts of other good ones, but I don't know, man. I don't know about this one. It just doesn't seem like it is. Like you want to put something like club in it, right? Like anything that says club makes you feel like you're like a part of something like beautiful. But like this, I don't know. Now, I do like IPOs, but man, like what are like Spectre Fitness? Now that sounds cool, right? Spectre Fitness. That would be cool. Or something with club. Either one of those would work. Spectrum Athletic Club. Boom, billion. Put a billy on it. Can't do it. Spectrum Fitness. Man, people should be paying me for this stuff. I just gave somebody $1 billion idea right there. Bam. Club. This is a turd. FSR. Nah. Turd. Double turd. Spectrum Fitness. Man, that's nice. Whoa. Feels the main goal, phase 2. So these guys probably only have one drug, most likely. It's down like 50%. So when these things are like, if it's like $200, it's down 50%. You can have a little bit more leeway to trade it back and forth because you'll actually be able to see it on the chart, right? Like the ebb and flows. What happens is like when they're this cheap, the charts on your Ameritrade, T6000, wherever, they get so compressed, you can't really see the ebb and flow of it. So they just become like untradable. It's it has something to do with the scale. Netgear. You know what? They probably deserve this for those they got those like $400 routers. Like, come on. I got one of them. They stink. I don't know if it's worth $400 or not. Spectrum Fitness. That's nice. Whew. Oh, man. I'm really on to something here. And that here, huh? No liquidity on this. It is a very clean breakdown. Yo, I would add that. This Go is a bloated pig. I mean, who's like, a $4 billion grocery store nobody ever heard of? What's up with this though? No earnings out today. You're just doing this on its own. That's amazing. 180,000 will give us enough liquidity. Look at this though. If we get an ORB on this or a quick pullback buy, like I think we're going to be able to. Arrow, I'm just messing around. Like, I don't know about any of that stuff. Nor do I care. It just goes with my Crocs. If I'm going to talk about Crocs, I gotta have something to talk about. Now, let's go. Woo! 1, 2, 3. Yo, let's add that in. That's nice. This one is going to be a little bit thin. Ideally, we want this one to pull back too. Let it kind of congeal a little bit around 333, 34. That's when we'll get a good spot on this thing. It's got 180,000 volumes. Should be enough. That's big thing will be also have this thing where we're going to need to see an additional 400, 500,000 shares fire off at the open, then we'll know like it's ready to go. Oh, yes. Let's add that. Not a priority because we don't know how much liquidity it's going to have, but it might be something. Okay, Texas Instruments. So they had their earnings out today. And they're getting some price reductions, price target reductions. Yeah, I wonder if this thing gets sold off here. It should have decent enough range. I wouldn't make this a huge priority, but if it does get under about 182, I think we could probably take a gander. Yeah, I'm going to add that in. You know what? A lot of these stocks are probably due for some falls. Unilever. Yeah, the problem with this is the ADR. It's going to be a little bit more tricky. Pass. I do think, let me see, narrows, net losses, revenue source from last year. It doesn't really matter though, like revenue gets stored from last year, but they're comparing it to the year before, right? So like that doesn't mean shit. You can already see this thing's rolling over due to the Delta variant. The Delta variant. You can't buy this stuff. I mean, I think the cruisers, casinos, that's gonna be a little bit of fool's gold. They're all gonna beat on their earnings, but it doesn't matter. Like good earnings, it doesn't have anything to do with right stock price for the next few days. I think you got to leave that alone. If anything, that's probably it's probably going to be something that's more of a short. I think probably this rolls over. Yeah, it should have some decent liquidity on it too. Good. Yeah, I think it's going to have some decent liquidity on it. I'd roll with it. China. You know, those cruisers just move a little bit better. Okay, so let's talk about the regular watch list here. The non-earnings place. Then we'll go back over this. This Peloton, yo, if this goes red to green, it may just do it at the open. Man, it could do it right at the open, guys. I mean, goes red to green, takes out 127 to 127.50. Shit. Like that's gonna be hot. Let's add that. That's top of the list. The second top of the list is JKS over 63. Hot. Good. Hey, you know, we had some good range on this AMC. My gut feeling is this thing, if it stays under 40, you know, I ran into 20 SMA here. If it stays under 40, this thing's probably going to fade back. You know, they loosened up the margin on it at least the E-Trade. You know, they were letting you do like 200 shares, but now, now they've been able to get it going. Hey, Ricky, in terms of your question, in terms of liquidity and volume are not necessarily the same. The liquidity is like the ability to get in and out quickly, meaning like you could have a lot of volume, but like if there's a big spread on a stock, right? Like say the spread on a stock is $1 and you may not get that much liquidity to be able to get in and out very easily, at least at the price you want. If you're doing like say a market order, you'd have to do a limit order or something along that end. Now the last couple things add, all these vaccine plays like mRNA is actually kind of flagging out a little bit. You know, BNTX is a monster rampage at this moment. This one you can't chase up due to the gap. Like any tapbacks on this, it'll probably have a snapback, a $5-6 snapback at some point today. Like any tapbacks on this at 255, 256, I think we got to come in hot on this thing. This NVAX has been a moneymaker for us every day. every day we've been hitting this thing on some dips and stuff. Yesterday's high was 215. If it gets over that, we release point it. I think it's going to be, I think we'll get a little bit of a heater on it too. And you know what? The MVAX is nice because it's like, you know, you can roll in, say you buy like even a few hundred shares or whatever. Man, when it goes, like it'll just rip like 4 or 5 points. It'll rip 4 or 5 points really fast. So I think that's something to be mindful of. DocuSign, Peloton, these are coronavirus offshoot plays, right? Meaning like work from home plays. Zoom is not acting well at all. But Roku, Peloton, DocuSign have been trading very well. Those are going to be like daily traders. So there's two aspects of things you want, right? Which is like, you know, on the long side, it's the work from home, work out from home kind of plays. Short cruise lines. You could do airlines, but they stink to trade. Long vaccines. And then we have these earnings plays. So these are your 4 buckets, right? You want to segregate your list into buckets. Okay, I've got my earnings plays. Okay, I've got my daily traders. I got my Roni plays. I got my vaccine plays. I've got my shorts. These are my buckets. This is what I'm doing. And this is how I'm living. Does that make sense? Shred. Top 2 non-gapper plays, I think are going to be JKS and the Piton. I know a lot of you guys asked about Sava and stuff, but that one is going to me, that one is extended. It was just $70 a couple days ago. I mean, it's got the heat. But like, if you're really thinking like, if it's okay, it's up $50, take that from where it started at 73, $50 out of 73. That's like many percent. You know what I mean? So like, it's probably a little bit extended. The other thing is like, it's coming into a little bit more of a resistance point, and it's only the second test of resistance. I mean, this is like prime time area to get a rug pull. So let's do what we do, guys. Let's do what we do. Let's have some fun today. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way.